tell them, and shame on them for trying. There. Don't you feel better? You'll also feel better knowing you could save when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Although I'm sure you'd have a funnier way to say that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Great savings and premium products professionally installed. Go to buildersandremodelers.com.
From the 651 Carpets, home of the Next Day Install Studios, this is FM 100.3 KFXN Minneapolis, St. Paul, The Fan.
Now Lowry is able to knock it free. The Jets have a potential 2-on-1. Logan Stanley, the big defenseman, with him. In comes Lowry back for Stanley. Huge save. Stanley with a great shot. A big save that time by Talbot. Back the other way, Minnesota. 3-on-1. Kaprizov moves it back across. They score! Eric Sinek with the game winner.
Still trying to wrap our heads around an unbelievable home opener to the 2021-2022 campaign for the Minnesota Wild. In studio now, you can listen to it the way you are. 100.3 FM, The Fan, 651 Carpet Studios. You can use the iHeartRadio app. It's free, by the way. Download it. Our guest is on brand, Russo, wearing the fan hat because he knew that he was going to be. Absolutely, he was going to be available on KFAN.
I also got this camera in my face. I don't know if I've signed any releases for this.
Well, here's what we did, though. Do you notice what angle?
I don't like the angle.
And it doesn't matter that...
Can I turn the camera toward you? I mean, like, we're going to get, like, every one of my chins on this. Where is this located on it? I assume thefan.com?
Yeah, it's Facebook. I think probably Periscope via Twitter, the Gram.
I would have dressed up and put on some makeup and maybe shaved for this.
Do you get makeup when you're on?
So we were in L.A. the other day, and I'm in the bathroom before the game, and it was me and Derek Armstrong there. Derek, former NHL player, and we're both putting on our faces, and we're just having this small talk. And then he and I just looked at each other in the mirror and just started laughing.
Yeah.
Because so I only wear like LaPanta. I don't know if Carter wears LaPanta. I don't think does. I only do because about 10 years ago I was doing Fox Sports North, and some guys like on Twitter, he's like great segment, but you look like an effing clown.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, because of my red, rosy cheeks.
Okay.
And so after I blocked him, I went and bought
people
makeup.
Are nice.
Yeah. So I blocked him on Twitter, then I went and bought makeup the next day. I'm like, I better cover up the rosacea.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, LaPanta is perfect in every way.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't even use hair gel. He just uses water to comb his hair.
Yeah, so
he's so obnoxious.
He's clearly a gift from God.
Yeah.
But the rest of us require work.
Exactly.
I am a bridge troll, so I would have liked to know in advance that we were going to be on social channels so that I could get some makeup. I didn't know that.
You got the ink flashing today,
I didn't
though.
know, it's, maybe it's midlife crisis. Who knows?
Exactly.
Getting a point out of that last night would have been miraculous in some ways, pure determination.
Yeah.
And I'm still, 5 deficits in that game. And that's kind of been the theme. They've conceded first in each of the games, but then it's the battle back.
Yeah.
And it feels like in some ways I'm looking at a different team. It's super small sample size.
Yeah.
It's fresh and new into this year. But how was it being at a packed X last night?
It was just, that was fantastic. I mean, you could see right in the first minute that they came out shot like a cannon. I mean, Kaprizov, first time experiencing what XL Energy Center is like, packed. The crowd was as good as I've ever seen them. Like, I don't think there's any secret that Wild fans are one of the quietest sold-out crowds in the league. And I don't mean that in like a negative way or a shot at them. You see it, same thing in most of the Canadian cities as well. I think the super intelligent hockey fans really go there to enjoy the game. You can actually see them talking. I remember my first time covering the Wild, the game that Mark Chouinard got a hat trick on opening night in 2005 against Calgary. And I had no clue who Mark Chouinard was, by the way. And he wound up leaving the NHL pretty soon after that. He gets this hat trick, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, the loudest this arena's been this entire game are on like penalty kills, because they were like so supportive that they got it, right? And last night, electric. I was just talking to Foligno via text, and he was saying that in warmups last night that all the players were talking about it because it was 4 or 5 deep, signs everywhere. There was this energy that normally you just don't see at a regular season Minnesota Wild home game. And I do think it's going to be a fun year. This team has shown already the ability to come back in 3 straight games. They're fast. They're exciting. You see it in overtime how fast they are. Kaprizov, 3-on-3 was made for that guy. Fiala 3-on-3 was made for that guy. Last night, even Goudreau out there, like last couple of years, they're out in overtime and you're holding your breath that they can get by some shifts. Now it's anybody they throw out there, you feel comfortable who's out there.
Well, it was always like, oh my God, like Suter won't get off the ice. He's got a 90-second shift into OT.
Exactly.
And something bad would happen. This team hasn't performed in overtime historically.
Since Dean Evason has taken over, mid-February exactly 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They have gone from the worst overtime team in the league to the one of the best. I mean, they finish these things in overtime too, and usually on the victorious end. They're getting saves in overtime. That's the other big difference, right? I mean, Talbot last night, not as great, not a good first 3 periods, but man, comes up huge
Absolute
in
nails
overtime.
in OT.
Yep, four saves, 2 great ones, one that led directly to the goal. And we've seen that already a couple times in both the preseason and the regular season, where both their goalies are making big saves that are leading right to goals. So, really exciting win. I mean, it's as you mentioned, wrapping your head around. I mean, I was absolutely wired when I got home last night. I got home at like 1:30, and I slept for 2 hours and got up and already wrote my story that's going to go on later today. And it's just because there was just so much stuff that I joked on Twitter today that you couldn't. There was like too much stuff that happened that could even fit on the internet. Like there was just so much stuff you could put in your story. And it was just, there were so many poignant things said after the game as well. And it was just, it was as exciting a game as I've ever seen. Even if the Wild had lost the game, like it was an exciting game throughout. Like normally the way those fireworks start and the energy that they had in the first period, 2 teams that hadn't seen each other in a long time, usually that'll dissipate right when the second period starts, right? They got the goals out of the way, they got the fight out of the way, and now it's, all right, let's play hockey. But they went toe-to-toe the entire game, end-to-end. Great scoring chances, both sides. Both goalies, even though both gave up a combined 11 goals, they had made some huge saves along the way as well.
Was fantastic for most of that.
Exactly, and he was victimized by some fluky goals. Let's be honest. The first Zuccarello goal, the second Zuccarello goal, fluky.
Is that where he kind of snuck in with the rebound?
Yep, exactly. And then obviously the Eriksson Ek one. Kaprizov throws it in the air. It hits the right shin of Zuccarello. Somehow is going like 6 feet wide, right where Eriksson Ek is, and he just hatchets it down, and it just is sick redirection.
What do we talk about in hockey, though?
Yeah,
it's puck luck.
It is. It's puck luck.
It's okay for us to have some of that once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, and Brandon said it in the post-game press conference yesterday that it was so true. He goes, isn't it crazy that the Superman punch by Marcus Foligno was like the 10th biggest storyline of the game? Like that was originally giving me my entire lead, and now it's my post-game, my follow story today. But it was a crazy, crazy game, and hopefully that type of excitement and entertainment can continue throughout the year because it's certainly fun.
Yeah, and, at the end of that first period, and it's post-fight, and it was Brendan Dillon, is that who he fought? Okay. After that, it was he's watching UFC videos now, apparently, learning new tricks of the trade. He might fight like 40 times this year. He's on pace for it through 3. But that's where I thought it was going to be tight.
Yep.
And constipated for the final 40 minutes, where it's just you haven't played the Jets in so long, and so the rivalry and the divisional aspect of it instantly clicks back. First period's unbelievable, and then I'm thinking, okay, well this is going to be awful for the final 2 periods of 2 teams just slowing everything down, backing it up, and just trying to get out alive, and the explosion never stopped.
Yeah. This is a different team than the Jets had seen too. Like just not even all the new players, the maturation of players. Like that was a different Marcus Foligno than the Jets saw 2 years ago. That was a different Joel Eriksson Ek than the Jets saw. These guys, like Marcus Foligno, has become the emotional leader of this team with Matt Dumba, as Bill Garen likes to say. But this guy, it's not even just the fighting now. It's he's in Anaheim, scores with 7 seconds left. Last night, it's like, all right, he didn't just fight and do the whole show of spiking the elbow pads on the ice and, showing everybody his really cool as he's leaving the ice. He goes out and scores a power play goal that sparks him. Eriksson Ek, an absolute beast last night. First line center role, still people a little confused on if this is going to work. And he goes out and he scores 3 great goals, all combined from like 4 feet. Like you take all 3 of his goals and he's total 4 feet from the crease. 19 of 25 on faceoffs, but even before that, just a beast in his own end. They've got guys that have had unbelievable maturity the last couple of years, and we'll see if it can continues up. And now they got because of some of the players that have left this organization in the last 3 or 4 years, the door's open for them to get expanded roles like Foligno, Eriksson Ek, Hartman. And we'll see if it continues. But, man, first 3 games, you can't ask for more.
One thing we were talking about before you came in here for the segment, the video tribute on the front end with Tom Kervers, the late Tom Kervers. And I didn't see it as I popped onto the TV. I don't know if they even aired it. They were already a couple of minutes in when I turned on the game. But I found that to be interesting, whether it was your post-game stuff and those reporting, that was a common theme as well, that this video tribute, this night, these fans, there was really a confluence of so many things happening at the same time, and the late Tom Kervers providing a boost to that squad as well.
And if you are a spiritual person, you probably believe something. I mean, look how that game ended. Most people either left that arena or turned off their TVs thinking the Jets went up 6-4. And next thing you know, seconds later, it's 5-5 again, 5-4 again, and the Wild tie it up 14 seconds later. There were so many people, tweets, my mother, so many people that went to sleep that woke up finding out the Wild won that game.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And the way that all came about, like Dean said something after the game that I didn't even realize until I looked at the replay after he said it, how close those refs were to dropping the puck. Like Jonas Plum and TJ, the Gindra, the two video people in the video coaches room, we're hollering for Brett McLean, their assistant coach, in his ear that thing's offsides. He had to scream for those refs to get over there. If they drop that puck, that goal counts, and that he was barely offsides. And next thing you know, it's a tie game, and it worked out perfectly too because 2:47 left in the game. Dean calls timeout. Darby draws up a play. They go out there, and I remember saying to Dave Mizutani, they better score early in this extra attacker situation because these guys are going to die by the time the 3 minutes are up. And then they score the empty net goal. These guys were huffing and puffing and dejected going to the bench. But what happens? They get 3-4 minutes to rest up.
For the review.
The goal's overturned, and those same 6 players come back out there, and they score the goal. And it really, TK was loved inside this organization. And it's something I thought about a lot last night is, Tom Kervers was around the Wild for many, many, many years. Obviously, he's from here. He was based here. He was an executive a scout with the Arizona Coyotes, then Phoenix, and then a longtime executive with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I used to see him all the time in the Wild press box before he became assistant GM. But our relationship was mostly like, hi. It was, you see him, you talk to him cordially in the press room, but I didn't really know him. And in 2018, when the Wild were eliminated by the Winnipeg Jets, the Athletic didn't have a Vegas beat writer, so they put me on Vegas, and then who knew that Vegas is going to go on a Stanley Cup run, and I wound up covering them against the Sharks and Winnipeg and then eventually Washington. But what was really neat is that, and I kept on thinking about this last night, is that my relationship with Tom started really in Winnipeg. The Tampa Bay Lightning were in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Tom was pre-scouting the Jets in case the Lightning wound up playing them in the Stanley Cup Final. So every single morning in Winnipeg, me, and Dean Grillo, a local agent here, would have breakfast every single morning. And we'd talk about the series between Vegas and Winnipeg. And I was just thinking the whole game, like, there's one person besides Paul Maurice that knows the Jets more, and that's Tom Kervers. And it was just one of those things I couldn't get out of my head about just how much Tom was pre-scouting the Jets that whole 7-game series, or 6-game series actually. And then then that way that game ended, it's super. And then you hear the way that he was really brought up in the locker room after the game, the TK decals, and how much this organization just really respects him. And it just, I don't know, it made for a poignant part of the story that, even to be quite frank, when I went downstairs, was not initially even in my head of making it a part of the story. And then you wind up thinking, wow, this is actually kind of interesting, the way this game ended and then everything that everybody was saying.
Yeah, it came through in the way you wrote it and what the players were saying. Unbelievable, and tremendous tribute that they made to TK yesterday. And they get 2 points.
Yep.
How the hell did that happen? That's Michael Russo of The Athletic, at Russo Hockey via Twitter, and read all of his stuff at theathletic.com. super price friendly on the wallet to have a subscription. And not only are you reading all of Russo's stuff, what about Johnny Athletic, John Krasinski? The Wolves open up tonight. So much content.
I clicked on my actual article today, and I wasn't logged in, and it was offering me like $1 a month for 12 months deal. So sometimes you get really lucky. So if you're not a subscriber, click on my story today.
And you only had 2 hours of sleep. You were midway through entering your credit card info, and you're like, well, wait a minute, hang on a second.
Actually, you want to hear something funny? I actually told I said to my buddy that's been like saying to me for years, like, I'm going to become an athletic subscriber, and I'm like, send me an email address. He sent me an email address, and I bought him a sub for the year. But then I put in my calendar on October 19th next year to cancel it.
You're out.
I'll pay the $1 a month, but I'm not paying the $7.99.
More with Russo around the corner, more on the Minnesota Wild. And again, during the final hour here, last couple of segments, stay tuned, an opportunity to win tickets. I think it's Saturday's Tilt with the Ducks. We got a pair of tickets we're going to be giving away thanks to our friends at OVO, LASIK, and Lens. And, since we're in the giving mood, before we do go to break, how about Brett offers you a chance at winning $1,000?
Yeah, absolutely. The Fan, along with Paul Bunyan Plumbing and Drains, are trying to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest.
Contributed more to the innovation of the LASIK industry than Dr. Lobanoff, whose exclusive software it's been implemented globally to drive the best possible results for your eyes. What he's accomplished for his patients over time is amazing. Who he is tremendous. And his independently owned clinic, OVO, LASIK, and Lens, is state-of-the-art. Get a free consultation. Meet Dr. Lobanoff and start on the path to ditching those glasses and contacts. Oh, and there's a grand opening only deal for $700 off LASIK. $700 off. Wow. Go to OVOeye.com today. OVOEYE.com. OVO, LASIK, and Lens is the official LASIK provider of the Minnesota Wild.
KFAN Total Traffic.
From the Holiday Station Stores Traffic Center, here's a look at the road. Stalls have been cleared on 169, southbound at Excelsior, northbound at 394, and also now southbound 35W stalled at 96th Street is clear. 494 westbound still has the left shoulder blocked with a stall at Central Avenue, though. That's traffic on the Fan. This report is sponsored by Xfinity.
Xfinity Internet sounds like crazy fast speeds, reliable in-home Wi-Fi coverage, and protection for your connected devices. Can your internet do that?
Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Restrictions apply.
Barrero back with you for my friends at Smart Start MN. And they know that if you've lost your license because of a DWI, the process of getting back on the road can appear daunting, quite intimidating. Given how much is at stake for you, do not, as my good friend Joe Friedberg has told you, go with imitators. Go with the folks who can help you navigate these rough waters. Go with the folks who can get you back on the road legally and safely. See, Smart Start is the genuine article. The folks who were there at the beginning of the state's Ignition Interlock program, they helped create it. They know the ins and outs, can cut through the weeds to definitively and knowledgeably answer all of your questions. I say knowledgeably because if you call, the person answering was not just handed a phone, a cubicle, and a clipboard with canned answers. They're local, and they're carefully trained to respond to your particular circumstances, not to read from a script. Smart Start MN is run by lawyers who can provide the answers you need. They'll get you back on the road safely, responsibly. Go to smartstartmn.com. That's smartstartmn.com.
If you're thinking about new appliances, don't wait. I'm Angela Warner, and I promise you that Warner Stellian has unbeatable savings on thousands of in-stock appliances. No one has more inventory than we do, ready for pickup or free delivery by our trusted professionals. Our specialists make replacing your appliances hassle-free, saving you time and money. You deserve the best, so come experience the Warner Stellian difference. Shop WarnerStellian.com or visit one of our 10 Minnesota showrooms today.
Meat sauce here, and football season is here, and you know what that means, hanging out with family and friends and enjoying 7th Avenue Pizza. Find out where you can buy it at 7thAvenuePizza.com. That's 7thAvenuePizza.com. If your store doesn't have it, ask for it. It wails. Bye.
Hey, it's Chris Hockey for Aquarius Home Services. I love these guys. I can't believe I'm saying this, but another Minnesota winter is coming. To make sure you're ready, Aquarius Home Services is offering a $55 furnace tune-up and safety inspection. I know firsthand the team at Aquarius is top-notch. They're going to keep you warm and worry-free for another winter season. And Aquarius is always going to treat your home and time with respect. Schedule your furnace inspection today at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius Home Services. Earning the right to be recommended.
Common here for all elements. Right now in the commercial roofing industry, there's a huge shortage of available materials. Some materials are not available until next year, putting new projects and existing roofs in need of new materials on hold, with prices increasing each month. If you're a general contractor, building owner, or property manager, and your contractor can't get materials until next year, contact All Elements and see what they can do for you. All Elements was able to purchase ahead of time and might be able to help. Visit KFAN.com, keyword roof, KFAN.com, keyword roof.
It's that time of year. Fleet Farm's Toyland is opening soon. Visit Toyland Saturday, October 23rd at 7 a.m. The first 125 customers get a free toy. Check out 3 days of doorbuster deals and this season's hottest toys. Find your favorite brands like John Deere, Lego, Melissa & Doug, Barbie, and more. And starting October 23rd, Fleet Rewards members will earn 2 times the reward points on all toy purchases. Get ready for Toyland at Fleet Farm.
Back to 9 to noon. Live in the 651 Carpets, home of the Next Day Install Studios. On FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
I've been trying to do it right.
9 to noon, 11:27.
I like how Brett knows my music.
Got a whole folder of them.
A quickly evolving producer. He listens, he gets the
I just
bits,
walked in there and
pays
I'm like,
attention.
hey, we're going to do a podcast right after this, me and Brett.
Oh, sweet.
I didn't know Brett had a podcast. Apparently
do.
everybody has a podcast these days.
That's how you got to do it.
I can just give them to anybody.
Special spot for Michael Russo.
Brett and
of
I
The
are
Athletic.
Brett and I are going to brawl in this podcast about Eichel, I bet.
Oh,
Probably
really?
Rossi.
Isn't Eichel hurt?
Yes.
Okay, so is that still a
Brett,
thing?
Brett would give up all these guys. Brett went from like wanting to give up Rossi for Eichel to now ripping the team for not putting Rossi on the team. That's what we're going to brawl about.
So that's still a thing in terms of us.
No, they're not interested.
Well, and he's hurt.
Yeah. Plus, they got all these kids. Why would you, like, to me, at this point, let these guys mature. Like, Rossi's a hockey player. Beckman's a hockey player. Boldy's a hockey player. Kuznadina is a hockey player. Let them grow up, be in this team.
What if Buffalo lowers their price?
Why would you want a guy that has to have artificial neck surgery? That's by the time he's even going to be able to play, he's going to have 4 years left at $10 million, and you don't even know what he's going to be like anymore.
And didn't Peyton Manning have that surgery?
Yeah, that's
We're gonna
a different
brawl
sport.
Okay. Well, here's what I'll tell you. Michael Russo, he ain't a liar. He tells it the way it is.
Yep.
9 to noon on the Minnesota Wild. Kaprizov threw threes, 5 dimes, 3 assists. Now, you did a hat trick of assists combined with Eriksson Ek's hat trick of goals. What do you think about Kaprizov through 3?
Well, I think he could play through the rough stuff. I think that's the one thing that I think the league is going to figure out about him, and Jets learned that yesterday. I thought that Kaprizov started off really strong, then really slowed down, wasn't taking a lot of shots, turned some pucks over, overextended some shifts, and then he just became like we are used to seeing. He made plays left and right. He's a game breaker, and I do think it's funny because I did this podcast with Eriksson Ek, and he basically said that he thinks it's a work in progress right now with that line with Zuccarello and Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov, and it's going to take a little bit. Well, I think yesterday I know that it was different circumstances, right? One was a 5-on-4 goal, the other was a 6-on-5 goal, the other was a 4-on-3 goal. They technically didn't score 5-on-5, so that's obviously a different animal. But I think yesterday was the beginning that we're seeing chemistry with these guys. They're 3 great hockey players, and as long as they use Eriksson Ek in the middle and don't play a 2-man game like Dean likes to say that Mats and Krill does, I think they're going to be just fine. But man, Eriksson Ek is just becoming an absolute beast. Just an unbelievable hockey player.
Well,
His growth the last couple of years.
He's going to score 35 goals on this line with Kaprizov because Kaprizov, like you mentioned, you're already in a state now where it's at times you will say, I want this kid to shoot more.
Yep.
Because he can do that too. However, the attention he draws and his ability to
100%.
distribute and pass.
Yep.
I mean, Eriksson Ek, with his own improvements, is going to feast all year on this
and
thing.
he goes to the net. Like, he is the definition of when you always see, we're going to put the big physical guy on the line with two skilled guys and say he's going to create space. And sometimes you're like, I don't even know what that means. He does it. He goes to the net. He goes to the hard areas. He plays like Eriksson Ek does. And I think that's been the most uplifting thing about what we've seen so far 3 games in and in the preseason is that Eriksson Ek hasn't changed his game to keep up with the super skill of those two players. Right, he just still plays his lunch pail hockey, goes to those areas, and isn't trying to outskill them, which sometimes is the biggest issue.
Yeah.
You don't have a mature player on that line, which is one reason why I think that they didn't want to put a guy like Rossi on there, is that they worried that he was going to always just defer to these two guys. And again, I think one of the coolest things that I've seen as the beat writer here the last 3 or 4 years has been the maturation of Eriksson Ek. I didn't see this coming. The analytics experts did. They've been saying this forever.
The Aaron Gleemans of the world.
The Aaron Gleemans of the hockey world were absolutely on it. I wish Aaron Gleeman wrote about hockey. I've told him that 1,000 times.
He can write about anything.
Yeah,
if you drill it down to numbers and there's decimal points and the oddities and the analytics, he's your guy.
Like and will make you. What I love about Aaron when you read him is that even me as a novice baseball guy, I get it. Like that. He has a way of making you understand it, where a lot of the analytics guys, I don't think, have that ability. Their brains are computers, and they write like computers, where he writes it really astutely. And so, but they saw this coming. They've been clamoring for 3 years for Eriksson Ek to get more ice time, be put on the power play, be put in top units, top offensive situations, not just always be a bottom, pretty much your checking line center. And he broke out last year, and my biggest concern last year is it's still just like Kaprizov. You're playing against Arizona, Anaheim, LA, and San Jose, 4 really struggling defensive teams last year. So what's going to happen now when you get into the real world of 82 games, full houses, 32 teams, all that type of stuff, and we're seeing it right now that he looks like he's going to have a big year.
Garen's touch and impact with this team. It feels like it. I guess I didn't know what to anticipate in terms of him impacting the franchise and turning it over into truly a molded clay piece of art with his hands on it. But now I'm looking, whether it's this Dmitry Kulikov, it's Freddie Gaudreau, is it Duhaime? Duhaime?
Yep.
All of these new faces, how is that looking and working? You got to see it in the preseason and exhibitions, and now through 3.
Yeah, they're playing well right now, especially, I will say, especially their third pair. That was my biggest concern coming into this year when you reinvent the blue line. The other one that, by the way, that you didn't mention is Goligoski, who I just think has been fabulous.
Really?
The first 3 games. Like, I thought he was.
How can I forget Minnesota's own? My bad.
I'm not kidding. Like, I thought he, especially in the sight lines that we have in Anaheim, the way he defends and uses his body position for a guy that weighs 173 pounds is unbelievable. And
I was a sophomore
I just think
in high school the last time I weighed 173.
Yeah, I was 10. So, so the,
at least you're tall.
But I will say, don't get me started there. So Kulikov and Merrill, it concerned me, and Kulikov's been great, and Merrill's, he's done his job, and they can't get Jordy Ben in right now. And so that's good. It's 3 games in. We'll see how that continues. In terms of the team and the way that Billy is molding this team, I think he'd even be the first to admit that a lot of the pieces that are still here are guys that were here or drafted before him or acquired before him and things like that. But what he did do is tear up what he thought were the culture issues or veterans that just needed to leave to bring these guys in to help expand their roles. He's drafted really well in his 2 drafts to build off what Paul Fenton did in his 2 drafts. And right now the Wild have a huge class of really quality players, looks like quality players that are coming, right? And that's all, you got to give Fenton credit because he was here for 2 drafts, and you got to give Billy credit. He was here for 2 and had the wherewithal to go and hire Judd Brackett, who's a brilliant hockey mind when it comes to player evaluation.
It is kind of funny, all the things that people would have said, with Fenton.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that he knew what he was doing.
If he only could have been a better human being and a better manager, he would still be the GM here. It's that simple. And
if you were only a completely different person, you'd still have a job.
Yep.
My goodness.
But you know what I mean? Like it's just they are a fast team now. I mean, it's
There's
really
nothing boring about how they operate.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like if you read my season preview, Bill Garen was so candid about the fact that he said everything needed to change and that he needed to get it done quickly. And he felt they were boring and middling, and he wanted to make them more exciting. But the other is that he felt there was a major culture issue in that locker room. And, he doesn't give you specifics, but you can
read between the lines.
Between the lines. And a lot of it isn't just that these were bad people or bad leaders or anything like that. But just when you're here for 8 or 9 years, things grow stale and you've got to change. There were good years with the Wild. Parisi and Suter and Koivu helped lead this team to 8 playoff run.
Won a couple series.
In 9, won a couple series. You wish there was more, all that, but there needed to be a better core around them.
Stanchions.
But you had to make changes, and those changes are not easy to make when you have guys on long-term deals. And he is bold. He does not care about hurting feelings. Eric Stahl, great pro. But when Eric Stahl didn't put the Buffalo Sabres on his no trade list, he was traded within an hour.
Yeah.
Koivu, it's like, hey, you don't have a lifetime contract here in Minnesota. Doesn't mean that you can't ever come back here again, but you're not coming back here as a player.
Hang out in the suite with Leopold.
He recognized right away they had a goaltending issue, and he figured how to change that. And so, and then obviously, which will long be the narrative here in Minnesota, at least for the next 4 years, the Parisi and Suter decision, which I saw Parisi coming, didn't see Suter coming, but he decided, you know what, I'm going to make a clean break. Controversial at the time, maybe controversial down the road, but look, he has
as long as you have Goligoski and you have some of these guys that are playing well, long season.
Right.
So again, small sample through 3.
Exactly.
But the longer that thing strings out as a positive, the less that people will think about the movie made.
And look, there's a lot of hockey to be played. The good news is you have a couple games coming up that are extremely winnable. Then they go on the road and go to Vancouver. They'll play Seattle for the first time, who's won a game in Nashville.
They got anything going for them?
I mean, they got smoked against the Flyers the other day. And
why do they get screwed over with a 5-game road stretch to start the season?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they were. I don't know. I don't know exactly why that is. There's got to be a reason. Maybe they're trying to get the Seahawks a little. Deeper into their season or what? A lot of teams in the
seeing him at some point.
Yeah, I would
just
think so.
Up?
He's gonna. I mean, they have back-to-back home games, rarity this weekend. Both 5:00 starts. I've got to think that Kakkonen's going to start one of them. If it were me, I would probably play Talbot in the front end against Anaheim and Kakkonen, even though it's a division game against Nashville. But LaPanta brought this up on our podcast the other day, and I agree with the sentiment. Is that because they play Sunday and 2 days later in Vancouver with that type of travel, give Cam the extra 2 days rest. So play Cam Saturday at 5 p.m. Then you give him Sunday off, travel Monday, play Tuesday, and you give him a little extra time. And then we'll see if Kakkonen plays well, if he can get more and more confidence from the team. The Wild have a huge game next week, next Saturday in Denver. Last couple times the Wild have been in Denver have been absolutely outrageous.
Usually of the 7-1 related.
It was like 6.
Ugly hockey.
It was 6-0, 7-1 last year, or something like ridiculous back to back.
Are any of these teams looking different? Like now, where's Landeskog now?
Landeskog is back from his suspension. McKinnon's back from his COVID protocol. They got Kemper in goal right now, and I think they are gonna. I think what we saw the other night is Darcy Kemper. I think he's frail mentally. And I think we're starting to see that already in Colorado. And they've got to spend a lot of times outchancing the opponent to make up for some of the plays that he gives up. I don't know. Maybe I'm still remembering the Kemper that we saw here, but I saw it all the time in Arizona when the Wild played them, and I just don't buy that this is 100% going to be an upgrade over Grubauer.
Yeah, Grubauer is now in Seattle, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, which was a big surprise because they made the big move to get Dreiger and out of Florida, and I think everybody thought he was going there to be the number one goalie. They paid him something like $3.5 million as a free agent. Next thing you know, they wake up and they acquire Grubauer too, and in free agency, and it just set the league into a bit of an upheaval, and that's where they went scrambling, and it worked out in Darcy Kemper's favor because he leaves Arizona and goes and signs with the best team in the league, or what's most people think has a chance to be.
Well,
the best team in the league.
now he's provided a weak spot on the potential.
Yeah,
best
I mean,
spot
potentially.
on the
I
best
mean,
team in the league.
I'm reacting off one game the other day where I just watched the goals that he gave up and he was terrible. But maybe that'll change. But I think that's the issue with Kemp's is that he needs to. You really, if you're Colorado, have to have the puck and spend a lot of time in the offensive zone, which they're fully capable of, and really limit the chances against because he will have some blemishes every game. And usually the way I've said it and the way somebody said it in my goalie tier story a couple of weeks ago is that with Darcy, one goal quickly usually turns into 3 or 4.
Last thing for you here, just through 3 games, small sample. We don't want to overreact harshly the way that you're clearly overreacting harshly on Darcy Kemper. Conceding, I think it's four power play goals allowed through 3. Like any warts or imperfections, you've conceded first in all 3 of these games. Again, super small sample, but just things that maybe Evison is tweaking as he has some time here into the game this weekend.
Yeah, their PK definitely needs to be better. I think that we'll see it. They have the personnel to be really good on the PK. I mean, when you have guys like Duhaime and Sturm and Eriksson Ek and the defense that they have. Last night's power play goal against, I think, came at an awful time. Spurgeon got nailed in the knee by the puck and had to leave the bench, and that would have been his shift that he would have been out there for. And so, not saying that the goal wouldn't have happened, but look, that's one area that Cam was good at last year was on PK save percentages, if I remember correctly, and things like that. And he'll just have to be better in that situation. Cam had a really, really good road trip. Didn't get a lot of preseason action. He only played 90 minutes in the preseason. So I think, he's going to get up to par. Last night, I think was, and you know what, as maybe some of the goals were beating him cleanly last night, he was huge. There were huge saves that he made, even just to keep it a 2-goal deficit. Huge saves between 4-3 and 5-3. And so I know that fans don't like to hear that. And then obviously the OT saves as well. So, I trust, I mean, I know, like, it's so funny the way fans react to just small things and just the tweets I'm getting last night, Talbot's trash, all this stuff, like just forgetting everything they did on the road trip, everything they did last year. And you can't even make it up sometimes, the stuff that you read on Twitter.
Hockey's back, Russo.
Yep.
Hockey's back.
Yep. That's why I came into this segment fired up. I had to tell somebody off on Twitter.
Absolutely.
It's just the duty of my job and maybe as a human.
And you're very good at it.
Yep.
At Russo Hockey via Twitter, theathletic.com for all of his work. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely. Am I going to get to hear the rap?
I don't
do the rap when you're hosting?
I don't do raps. Yeah.
That was why I was so excited to come down here to see it face to face.
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
And
they don't want to see that.
No.
Thanks for watching via social channels, by the way.
Hey, so this camera, is it like live audio between segments? Because I might have ripped LaPanta during the break, and I just wondering if that went out live on the interweb.
I hope not, but it's up to Zach Halverson, so
Nice.
nothing's guaranteed.
Okay. All right, cool. I am so looking forward to this Brett podcast, by the way.
Hell yeah.
Yep, I can't wait.
Watch out for that at Brett KFAN and at Russo Hockey.
Brett's next to be blocked on Twitter.
Yep, there it is.
Final segment is next 9 to noon, but first 651-989-5326, 800-320-5326. If you want to go see the Wild on Saturday, hosting the Anaheim Ducks, now is the time because I got a pair of tickets for you. Thanks to Ovo, LASIK, and Lens. Caller number 9 gets Wild tickets this weekend, 651-989-5326, 800-320-5326. Thank you, Ovo, LASIK, and Lens. This is The Fan.